Salutations, namaste, and welcome back to the channel for another Marvel Contest of Champions news for the 21st of July 2018. Without further ado, let's get into the news. It's time for Marvel Contest of Champions news. Apologies to those who expected a live stream last night. I was unfortunately forgetting that I was going to a trampoline park, which I agreed a long time ago. So yeah, sorry to those that maybe kind of went at 22 hours GMT. Why is he not live streaming? So that's the reason why. So let's, without further ado, jump into these 8 news stories that are about bugs, positive things about Marvel Contest of Champions. So let's start with a further update on the overheating issue. So as we know, this has been a kind of great update. The next thing, and the kind of more relevant thing at the moment, is that there's been a new beta test that's gone out to testers as well as new testers. As well, Kabam are working with Apple and have a dedicated team to try and look at this overheating issue. Yes, we've not had anything that's a fix in the meantime. Yes, it's frustrating with a grind. You know, I can be playing out for about, 30, 40 minutes and then find that the device just kind of goes just off into the buffering. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt to then leave it to cool for a while in order to then get back into it. And I am jumping between both different phones. I've got an Android device, which is pretty slow, and I've got the iPhone 7 Plus, which is the go-to phone for me to play the game. So I would really hope for an update as to when we're going to actually see a fix shortly. But I can understand the fact that they're obviously not able to make massive gains quickly. It's all about slow gains. So it's been about 2 weeks, and I think a lot of players are really drawing the end of their frustrations. I've seen pics of people using cool bags with phones. They're using ice blocks with phones, cold compressors with phones. You name it, I've seen it. And the memes are growing old. We want something in place and sorted. But I don't think it's going to happen until the end of the month, if I'm honest. But they need to test these new kind of builds of the game with these beta testers. So hopefully it can happen shortly, but how long's a piece of string? Next up, on those interested in the San Diego Comic-Con codes for Marvel Insider, they have indeed been dropped by some fantastic and helpful people on the Reddit post. So there's a Reddit post all about the codes. Go over there, you can see them here. These ones become like quite fresh from day to day. Do look out for other ones going on here, and do go back to this Reddit post, constantly to try and find. Obviously, link is in the description to go and see it. But it's there's a little bit of frustrations with this as well. And that is, if you want the more substantial points, these come from the flyers that are handed out at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, it's kind of good to kind of grab one of these, but some aren't able to get to. The codes are unique. So that is, again, a big frustration. But it does mean you'll be able to cop yourself a little questing bundle pack that's ghost related. So if you did want to do that, you can do. Try and find someone that's maybe going to the event that you can get one of the codes. If I can find any, then I'll post them on a video and just say it's first come, first serve. So yeah, do look out for that. If anybody is at San Diego Comic-Con and can pick up a few more flyers that they can distribute to the community, then that would be really great. But do bear in mind, I have been stung with this before, where I've used a code like this from the last Comic-Con, and it did mean that I had my account banned. So do bear in mind that. I think for my purpose and the way I use it is just to inform people of stuff going in to the game, like Marvel Insider related. So that's, do take it at your own risk. You may have success, but you may get banned. On our next story, and sticking with the Marvel Insider theme, we have seen no activities for Marvel Contest of Champions. Now, there have been people that have reached out to the Marvel Online support in order to get an answer about this. So I want to give a shout out and thanks to Aiden for sending this message through. He's had some kind of communication with the team that deliver Marvel Insider on the subject of Marvel Contest of Champions activities. They wrote, "Thank you for contacting Marvel Online Support Services. We apologise for the inconvenience this may have caused. As you have noticed, we are not currently running any Marvel Insider activities for the current Contest of Champions event. Although there are no official updates on the future Contest of Champions activities, we do encourage that you continue to keep an eye on Marvel Insider for the latest news and updates." Now, what does that really mean? Does it seem to say as if there doesn't seem to be any future Marvel Contest of Champions type of activities that will appear in the future? Contest of Champions were very consistent. It used to be month in, month out, we'd see activities for gaining Marvel Insider points. But has this meant that, say, a breakdown in relationship? Are they not running anything? I don't really know. they've run something for Marvel, the San Diego Comic-Con, and it does seem that there does seem to be some activity. Maybe this is a blip based on the extent of problems that we've seen. Now, I don't know if they were meant to make an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con, because there's a story that's going to be right at the end that talks about new champions being released, but no representative from Marvel Contest of Champions was able to make it. So does it mean that they had to forfeit their position? Maybe they had a booth that they couldn't do because they're not resourced correctly. And as a result, something like this with Marvel Insider just slipped through the net. I don't know, I can't really comment on that, but it does seem as if there's been some sort of miscommunication, non-communication, based on maybe no one able to do it. But anyway, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that there's an issue inside with Kabam and the resourcing side of things, and it all pushed towards one side of things? Do you think that for whatever reason they had the San Diego Comic-Con thing pre-approved and have forgotten to do anything further with activities in Marvel Insider? It'd be interesting to gain your thoughts on that on the comment section. So as you know, we may have seen a lot of problems with the Glory store. I know that I have experienced it, where the refresh timers, like I was expecting some stuff to refresh, but for whatever reason, they didn't. So the pricing of things with Glory has been incredibly high, as this particular image demonstrates. As you can see, the pricing is off with the Glory, but players, and this seems the main kind of issue that players are seeing, is down to the numbering side of things. And it looked a little bit like this, and it's the same story for me, where the stuff didn't refresh. I was meant to see something like refresh. I think a lot of people were, so all those numbers there were meant to refresh but didn't, so players weren't able to purchase at a cheaper price things like alphas or tier 4 basics or anything that maybe that they were expecting. Oh, like they purchased last week, going, okay, well, I've purchased tier 4 basic. Oh, where's refresh? No, it's not there. Okay, well, what's the deal with this? Kabam Exhibit notices down as an issue, and it's something that the game team are looking into. It's under investigation. Hopefully it will be rectified soon, but it probably won't be until the next cycle of Alliance Quest, which I believe from this point in recording this video is going to be about 24 hours away. So yeah, not kind of like easy or quick fix to this. It's going to be, you're going to have to wait. Next up, a little word on stuff with VPNs. As you know, VPNs are used as a different way of other countries bypassing maybe country bans on certain apps like Marvel Contest of Champions. This game isn't available in every single country, and for the countries that it's not, then it becomes more of a, you have to go bend the rules a little bit, and it's hard to gain an idea from Kabam whether or not it's acceptable to use things like VPNs. This story here is a pretty legitimate story. It's pretty fine. You know, I've got no problems with it, but I think that Kabam they've got to give an answer to this, if I'm honest. So to give you an idea, someone's moved to a country where the app is available. They then move back to a country where it's not available, and they want to still continue playing the game. But the VPN side of things is the only way to do that, and you know, that's a pretty fair thing. If I lived in a country and I wanted to play a game across the world somewhere, and I felt that, you know, and they said, oh, you can't do that via VPN, then that's a bit disappointing. So hopefully there is an answer on this. If you are concerned, we'll keep you kind of up to date with this story. Hopefully we can then let you know whether or not it's going to be a problem in the future, or it's going to be fine. Time and time again, and on this story, I have to kind of re-emphasize this, because this is something I feel strongly, strongly support, as it's all about Alliance Wars point deductions. As you know, when we had Season 2, which was Attack of the Clones, essentially, or Attack of the Account Sharing, it was, very disappointing. And quickly, like, going on it, I said, and I've done Alliance Wars as Star Wars movies. The Star Wars, like, Season 1 was The Phantom Menace, Season 2 was Attack of the Clones, and Attack of the Account Sharing, and Season 3 is the failure to launch, as that seems to be it, the overheating failure to launch. Let's call it that. But, you know, all joking aside, back to the main scheme of the story. And this is something that has gone over from Season 2, where we don't get a thorough idea of who has cheated in each alliance. And it affects alliances. There's 30 people in an alliance. It takes one person to account share, or to do something, or use a hack, use a mod, use something that's going to cause the alliance to be deducted points, especially in content like Alliance Wars. But there's no communication. There's no singling out that one person as being a person that is banned. Okay, they got a 2-day ban. Where's Joe Blogs for the last 2 days? Oh, I think he's got banned. right, well, he was the person that was account sharing, we're going to have to get rid of him. And that solves the problem. Or the alliance leader gets an idea that someone has done account sharing in a particular alliance. It means the alliance leader can kind of deal with it in a very kind of quiet manner, get rid of the person, and maybe they should even be given a time to respond and kind of like get rid of them. But just giving an idea who has done it and the action the leader must take. But we don't get that. This particular post continues on from this. I do talk about this quite a bit throughout the year until Kabam can do something about this. And until then, alliances are going to really struggle. My final thoughts on this, I really hope Kabam can do something, and it goes over to the comment section. How do you think we should deal with situations like this, where one person is accountable for the failure of 29 other people? How do we deal with that? Is that a case that we highlight people on a ban and then go, right, well, that's the person that's singled out? Should Kabam tell the alliance leader who it is and they deal with that in the way that they, can? Do we do a strike policy that's justified? It's up to the community to come up with a good idea for this, but at the same time, Kabam needs to think about ideas as well, how they make it fairer for the other 29 people, because that's essentially it. One person's indiscretion and 29 people punished as a result. Next up, let's talk about missing events. And a few people have kind of complained about certain things not appearing. Things like, well, item use isn't there. Why haven't we seen item use recently? Oh, what's happening to one of the solo events? Level up. Yeah, that's people's big issue at the moment with the change of the peak milestones and with the general shake-up. Where's the level up been in a while? I certainly haven't seen it. Event quest completion we had. I think we had arena wins, then we had hero use, but then prior to that, I think we then went into another cycle of things like hero use, arena wins. So the level up event, is it out of the cycle? Kabam might respond to this and says that it hasn't changed, the cadence of the game hasn't changed, and level up, it just goes into a normal cycle of rotation. That's at random. Kabam might went to the team and asked them about the situation, and they just basically reaffirm that you're not going to see it stop appearing, but it just seems that there's a longer period between the last time we saw level up and the next time we're going to see level up. So, it'd be quite funny and have a little chuckle to yourself if by the time that this video ends and we have the new 22-hour event, that indeed it is level up, because that would be quite funny that that's come out and like level up would be the next one to be seen. It seems more than likely it will be, so do look out for that and have a little chuckle to yourself. And for those having attention to detail, you'll know that in the comment section I pinned a comment that said that at San Diego Comic-Con, which Kabam were not present for, they did announce that we are going to be receiving 3 new champions. The scheme of when they're going to be released, don't know, but we may get 3 coming in next month in the shape and form of Korg, Heimdall, and finally, Red Skull is coming into the game. I had a funny feeling Red Skull would come in at a later date, especially with the big kind of square in the puzzle going off from Captain America World War II. As we know, it just fit well to have those two. And, Korg, I'm quite surprised with Korg coming in. If I'm honest, I had this really kind of odd sneaking suspicion about it, but I didn't think that they would do that. If anything, I would have thought it would have been better at time of Thor Ragnarok to release Korg as a champion. No, not to undermine the 2 champions that were released, the Thor Ragnarok version, which in some ways, I've got. It's a good champion, but I felt that they could have waited at least another year until we had this new version of Thor with, I know they called it Stormbreaker, but it looks like Yamborn to me as a weapon. But again, that's my opinion. Other people have different opinion about that, and I love Thor Ragnarok. Like I said, I would have preferred the new look and with the battle axe, if I'm honest. But the other thing is that we've got Heimdall, which is another champion that I really wanted to see into the game, so I'm really excited about that. I'm probably going to do some kind of like before the release powers video, and also talk about Red Skull. Now, it's been a while since I've seen the whole kind of Red Skull like animations, and whether or not they've decided to change the design in any kind of way. Yes, okay, the design is exactly what you see you'll see in Marvel Contest of Champions at the moment, which is this kind of futuristic kind of Hydra type look, which is fine. But for me, I've never been a big fan of the design, even though when they were doing this and were announcing it. well, not announcing it, but you could see images as well as video of this champion in action. I just didn't like the look of it. I felt that they could have made it less futuristic, the same way if they're kind of World War II Captain America is, and did something with that. But they need to highlight more of an extreme power. So yeah, I do get that's why they put him in a tech suit. So that would be the kind of the odd question, wouldn't it? Would he, with the suit, turn himself into a tech, or would they just give him as being a science, or would there be anything else? I don't know. Would it be skill? Do not know with that, but there may be loads of options. But we're in a tech suit. More than likely he's going to go tech. So that's been your Marvel Contest of Champions news for the 21st of July 2018. Hopefully having a great weekend. And I've got lots of videos to make, lots of crystal openings. And I think I'm going to do like a crystal opening on helium. So look out for that. That's going to be, like I said, that's going to be a lot of fun. I think like early next week, expect that. I've got some 2 helium balloons for like leaving balloons. And I want to do like a helium one. So Marvel Contest of Champions crystal opening on helium. Let me know in the comment section below if that sounds like a good idea. It's going to be fun. Hope it's going to be funny as well and enjoyable for people. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. And as always, like, share, subscribe, and I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye for now.